Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Chanel's Sechan Budhiman. Jokowi, your visit is very important. Pompeo, U.S. support to Indonesia's sovereignty over the South China Sea. Before you're watching the video, don't forget a cup of the warm coffee and the snack. Don't forget to subscribe, likes, notifications bell, shares and comments. Viva! The United States Secretary of State or U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo continued his work visit agenda by meeting President Joko Widodo at the Bogor Presidential Palace, Thursday afternoon, October 29, 2020. Your visit in the midst of this pandemic shows the importance of the strategic partnership between Indonesia and the U.S. and during this pandemic the visits to each other between our officials are quite intensive. I can even convey the most intensive, Jokowi told Pompeo at the start of the talks. According to the plan, Pompeo will also hold meetings with representatives of U.S. business in Indonesia to strengthen bilateral trade and investment relations, and give a speech at the Ansor Youth Movement Forum, which is a community organization Ormas affiliated with Nahdlatul Ulama (NU). The U.S. Embassy in Jakarta said in a statement on Wednesday evening that Pompeo's visit to Jakarta was aimed at strengthening the strategic partnership between the U.S. and Indonesia, which has so far been deeply woven based on fundamental beliefs in democracy and free markets. As a country with the largest Muslim majority in the world, Indonesia is well positioned regionally and globally to be an example for religious tolerance, pluralism and inclusion, said a statement from the U.S. Embassy in Jakarta. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo supports Indonesian sovereignty in the Natuna Sea. The U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo supports Indonesia's assertiveness and sovereignty in the Natuna Sea. Pompeo made the statement after a bilateral meeting with the Indonesian Minister of Foreign Affairs, Retno Marsudi in Jakarta. As a law-abiding country, we reject the claims made by the Chinese Communist Party in the South China Sea. It is clear from Indonesia's courageous leadership on this issue in ASEAN and the United Nations, Pompeo said in a virtual press statement from the Pancasila Building, Central Jakarta, Thursday 29 October 2020. Pompeo said this firm stance must be maintained in multilateral relations. He also mentioned that President Donald Trump's government is very supportive of this. We welcome the example set by Indonesia with firm action to safeguard its maritime sovereignty around Natuna Island, said Pompeo. He stressed the United States government will continue to look for new ways to ensure maritime security in the region, to protect some of the world's busiest trade routes. Regarding this, Foreign Minister Retno emphasized that for Indonesia, the South China Sea must be maintained as a sea area that is peaceful and safe by respecting international law, especially UNCLOS 1982. Therefore, any claim must be based on universally recognized principles of international law, including the 1982 UNCLOS, said Retno. Chinese ambassador to Indonesia Xiao Qian accused the U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo of spreading incitements and attacks against his country during the minister's visit to Indonesia. In a written statement uploaded on the id.chineseembassy.org page, Qian revealed at least 7 things about China's poor assessment of Pompeo's visit to Indonesia. Pompeo, Qian charged, had provoked Sino-Indonesian relations and disrupted regional peace and stability. Pompeo's recent actions and misrepresentations, he said, both exposed the U.S.'s bad intentions and underlined serious internal U.S. problems. Qian emphasized that the choice of the Chinese people allows the Chinese Communist Party to be the guide for its people in development. China is committed to building friendly cooperation with other countries on the basis of the 5 principles of peaceful coexistence. China is also committed not to export its ideology or interfere in the domestic affairs of other countries. However, the U.S. actually launched the so-called New Cold War, provoked opposing ideologies and generated colored revolutions in various parts of the world. The US also brutally intervenes in the domestic affairs of other countries, and does not even hesitate to use war and wreak havoc on the world, he wrote. The end of the topics. Jokowi, your visit is very important. Pompeo, US support to Indonesia sovereignty over the South China Sea. Don't forget subscribes, likes, notifications bell, shares and comments from Sechan Budhiman.